Have you ever opened the Revit floor plan and thought, why does this look so wrong? Well, the walls are looking thin when they actually should be bolder, and your windows are somehow disappearing. Some fixtures on the floor plan don't even look right. Some of them appear, some of them do not even appear. You go ahead and tweak some settings, but nothing really changes. You hope for the best, but everything still looks wrong. Well, if that sounds familiar, your problem might not actually be the model itself, it's view range. View range is one of the most important settings in Revit, but also it's one of the most misunderstood subjects inside of Revit as well. Most people are just guessing when it comes to view range. You go ahead and move those numbers up and down randomly, but you're not really sure what you're doing and even understand how it actually works. And you might even break something, to be honest. I've done that before. That guesswork might actually be why your floor plan is inconsistent and confusing and sometimes even difficult to control. In this video, we're going to change all that. We're not just going to memorize numbers and what goes where. We're actually going to try and understand view range as what it is. We're also going to look at how Revit decides what to show on the floor plan using the view range and why some elements are thick and why some elements are thin lines. Once you understand the logic behind view range, it kind of stops being frustrating. So you know exactly what settings to adjust, and most importantly, when you're adjusting, it's not going to be trial and error anymore. Before we talk about settings, numbers, or planes, we need to fix one core misunderstanding. The Revit floor plan is not a camera that is looking straight down. It's a horizontal section through the building. Now, when you create a plan view inside of Revit, Revit isn't just showing you whatever is happening below your cursor. It's slicing through a specific height in the building, removing everything that is above that slice and also projecting what remains below. Now, that slice, that decision that you make is what we call the view range. Now, this is why view range matters so much. You're not just telling Revit how to draw objects on the floor plan, you're telling it where exactly that cut happens. Now, what's allowed to appear above and what's below the cut, that's how the elements are shown inside the floor plan. Once you understand this, everything else starts to make sense. You see, view range is simply a set of horizontal boundaries that define one, what is going to get cut inside the floor plan, what also gets projected in the floor plan, and what gets to be shown beyond that projection. If your view range is wrong, Revit is still going to behave correctly, it's still going to show normally. It's just that you're not going to see what you're expected to see. And by default, the view range is set to a certain level that it's not allowing some elements to show up on the floor plan. So instead of guessing, the goal is to control where that cut actually happens and how far you can extend your view to view what is on the floor plan. And to do that, we need to understand the four horizontal planes that make up view range. See, every view range is defined by four horizontal planes. Think of them as invisible slices stacked vertically through your building. Now, three of them form what is called the primary range: the top plane, the cut plane, and the bottom plane. The fourth plane is called the view depth. This actually extends beyond the main range. So we'll start with the most important one, the cut plane. The cut plane is our decision maker here. This is the horizontal plane that slices through your building. By default, it's set to 4 feet above the level. This might be about 1.2 meters and it's not a random figure. It's equivalent to what we know as eye level. At that height, it cuts through most of the doors, windows, and walls. Anything intersected by this cut plane is going to be represented in block bold lines. Most view range problems are related to this setting. If your cut plane is wrong, everything else is going to look different. Above the cut plane, we have the top plane. Top plane is the upper limit and shows what can appear in the view at all. Anything that is completely above the top plane is invisible to that floor plan. Below the cut plane, we have the bottom plane. This is the floor. This defines the boundary of your main zone. Elements below the bottom plane are invisible unless you use a view depth. Now, what is view depth? View depth is what extends below the bottom plane. It allows you to show elements that are below the main floor and also typically used to show them as dash lines. We can actually use this to show foundations below the ground floor without them appearing too overwhelming. Now, there's one thing you need to remember here. Cut plane controls what is bold. Everything else supports that decision. Now, Revit displays elements in three different ways, depending entirely on the relationship of the planes that we just talked about earlier. Now, the first is your cut line weight. You see, if the cut line intercepts an element, it displays as a thick, bold line. Walls, doors, and windows usually fall into this category. The second is the projection line weight. If an element is below the cut plane or is above the cut plane and it's still within that view range, it's going to appear a bit thinner. You can see this in furnitures and fixtures and equipment. Usually they display in a thin line. The third is the beyond lines. Now, if an element is below the bottom plane but is still within that view depth, it's still going to be shown maybe as dashed lines or very grayed out lines. This tells the reader of the floor plan that the element still exists but it's out of the primary cut. Now here's where most Revit users get confused. Some categories are non-cuttable. Now even if the cut plane passes through them directly, they will always show in the projection. Now traditionally these are furnitures and fixtures that behave in that way. Since Revit 2023, some categories can now be cut. Now that's if the Revit family actually allows that to happen. There's a checkbox inside the family that allows you to enable cutting inside of views. Now if that option is checked off, the cut plane is not going to affect that element. One more important rule we need to understand is that windows, caseworks, and generic models that can appear above the cut plane, they are only in projection. That's why some windows actually look thin and others are looking thicker. They are above the cut. Nothing in Revit is really random. Revit follows strict rules and rules that you have to go on to set. Once you know those rules, and your drawing process actually becomes very simple. Accessing view range in Revit is simple. With a plan view active, you want to open the properties palette and scroll to your extents, and under extents, go ahead and click edit to see the view range. This is going to open the view range dialog box. Now, each plane is defined by two things: the reference level and the offset above or below that level. Positive numbers means upwards, negative numbers actually go down. The most helpful feature here is the show button. Click on to show or preview and you go ahead and see a diagram of the planes and the levels and where they cut. This instantly improves your confusion. A standard floor usually looks like this. You see a top plane is above the level, the cut plane is about 4 feet above that current level, and then the bottom plane is at the level. View depth often matches the bottom plane unless you go ahead and increase it and then bring it all the way down to show elements that are below. This is where you start. Always. You can only deviate from this when you have a specific reason to do so. One view range works until it doesn't. Split levels, sunken floor plans, mezzanines, step conditions, and all those that kind of alter your floor plan. To fix that, you need to use what we call plan regions. A plan region lets you define a different view range for a specific area in the same floor plan view. Now you draw a closed boundary, you just select that boundary and then assign a custom view range for that particular space. Everything that is inside that boundary follows its own view range rules. Now this is a correct solution and it doesn't raise or lower the cut plane of the entire floor plan itself. It only does it for that particular area. You have to use plan regions sparingly. You can't use them everywhere around the floor plan. If not, it gets confusing. So you have to choose a very specific place that you need to absolutely use a plan region. If you find yourself constantly fighting with view range, adjusting what goes where, you might just need a plan region to sort out that specific area and then you allow the view range to remain the same. However, there are some other problems when it comes to floor plans and view range. If nothing shows up, just go ahead and follow this order. Is the element outside of the top and view depth? If it is, make sure it's inside. Is your cut plane set too high? You might want to bring it down a little bit to show some elements. Check if the category of the element that you just imported is hidden for that floor plan. Now this is a very tricky one. You may start drawing an architectural floor plan and then you go ahead and bring in a structural element. That element is not going to appear inside the architectural floor plan. You have to go to the structural floor plan to see that element. If everything looks thin in your drawing and nothing has been defined by thick lines, it means that your cut plane is too high. You want to go ahead and reduce it a little bit so it can actually cut something. If some of the walls don't cut and don't appear in thick lines, they might be unconnected and they may not be linked to that floor plan. So you can go ahead and change the walls unless they are supposed to be unconnected and then go all the way up. That's fine. Most of the problems that we have with view range come from misunderstanding the dimensions and everything, but with constant practice, you can actually get a hang of it. You see, view range isn't really complicated, but it takes a lot of practice and you need to know what goes where. You need to also understand the dimensions of your building. You see, it's going to be different for everyone. Some buildings are 3 meters in height. View range for that building is going to be very different. Some building windows and walls have different top height or lintel height. So you need to understand your view range for every single building that you work on. So remember that the floor planes define what you're going to see. Cut plane controls where you're going to actually cut and what elements are going to be in bold and defined. The projection actually supports that. There's some elements that are projected that are inside that are going to appear in thin lines. If they are beyond that, they might not appear unless you use a view depth. Start with these basic settings and practice view range as often as you go. Try to use them in every single project that you work on. Adjust your view range as often as you can. It helps you understand view range a lot better. If this video helped you a little bit to understand view range inside of Revit, do let me know. Also hit the subscribe button and also hit a like for the video and share it with somebody who might be struggling with view range as well.